After 800 years, Oda finally reveals a member of Joy Boy's crew, Emeth.
It's about time.
There's a lot we can take from this revelation, from its inspiration of Astro Boy to the ancient lore behind the golems where the name Emeth originates from. But this ancient robot gets a second wind after Bonnie's new Yonko power-up as she joins Luffy in becoming a Nika. Their drums of liberation beat so loud that he is reminded of Joy Boy. Before we learn about this deep relationship, the Goroseis continue their pursuit to kill the Vegapunk satellites, starting with Mars and Atlas. Just like the rest of us, he is shocked to see that Bonnie had become a second Nika. However, he quickly dismisses this as just another transformation from the Age fruit. So yeah, he does the only thing he can at this point and rains fire. But Luffy is a fully fledged Nika, so he pops himself up into a balloon and tanks the Gorosei's attack. Now, I know, I've been saying some ridiculous things like Zoro is as strong as Luffy after his insane conqueror's clash with Gandhi. But I was talking about pre-Gear 5 because Luffy is simply too busted. This arc alone, Luffy has turned into Gear 5 multiple times, where the adverse side effects of him burning out and turning into an old man seems to be slowly driven away. Like, remember when Luffy used to turn into a little mini version of himself after Gear 5? Well, that's of the past. Likewise, we may no longer see an old man Luffy as he perfects the Nika mode. The only thing my boy needs is meat with some good old gamer subs. However, Luffy still has yet to completely master the Gear 5 yet, and he still has a long way to go. Hence why, instead of deciding to beat down Mars, he plans to send him flying away, as he tells Bonnie, Frankie and Six Anji that there is no point in fighting him because nothing hurts these Goroseis, where leaving their insane durability aside, they just simply heal from any damage. Again, this might be due to the Ope Ope no Mi immortality surgery, or even a linkage to Imusama, because them using the Kabbalah magic summoning circle can't be due to their own devil fruits. Like, what's the probability of all of them having this power? It's likely from one user, either one of the Gorosei or Imu. Regardless, as Luffy endures Mars's fire, he stretches out his hands, grabbing his wings and locks him in place, then calls out to the Straw Hats to hit him with everything they got. Bonnie in her Nika form showcases that her powers aren't just for looks, as we see her use Luffy's signature elephant gun. Including Bonnie in the mix whilst leaving out the giants might just be Oda's way of officially telling us that she is the next honorary Straw Hats alongside her father, Kuma, who will be left in Elbaf to recover. Regardless, alongside Frankie's and Six Anji's, all three of these attacks collide into Luffy's balloon booty, creating his new move called Booming Dawn Balloon, where he bounces all of that energy right at Mars, yeeting that bird brain to the moon. Oh wait, what's this? Does this mean that Six Anji's attack might have been his biggest input the entire arc?
Come on, man.
I ain't the only one thinking this, okay? Look at this. Oh my god, it's taking a piss here. He said that Sanji's input was like this. But honestly guys, Oda literally dished out Sanji's strongest attack, Ifrit freaking Jumble. He doesn't even hold back, and Luffy just says, "Owie?" That kinda hurts. Mind you, this is alongside Bonnie's and Frankie's punches. If anyone is trying to do Sanji dirty, it's gotta be Oda. Oh, okay, look, seriously guys, when he gets his Conqueror's Haki, deals with his inner turmoil of being a test tube baby, then and only then, Sanji will come back to his rightly sided spot at 3rd place. Of note though, Luffy mentions that their combined attacks hurt him because of Haki. Whilst this could simply be in reference to Bonnie and Six Anji, this just might be our first mention of Frankie having Haki as well. Though I know there is no, visible indication, Frankie is actually in a very unique place when it comes to the world of One Piece. What I mean is that in almost every other situation, strength is shown through Haki or devil fruits, but obviously Franky has neither up to this point. Instead, he relies on technology to even up the odds of the battlefield. You could also make the same observation with Nami, who controls the weather. These are the last Straw Hats to have neither of the main combat tools in the series, and who instead opt to take advantage of science. No doubt that Vegapunk did showcase that his technology without the use of Haki and devil fruits are really dangerous, but to advance higher and higher, he did have to use them with his end product of the green blood, where I'm hoping that Franky can possibly utilize this as well. Remember guys, we are in the end game. Elbaf, the world government, and Laugh Tale are the final steps we have to take, and we simply can't have members of the crew who are not equipped with the tools they need to move forward. But speaking of technology, Atlas tells Sanji that Nami and the other half of the group have yet to make it out and are late, possibly meaning Gandhi Saab ain't done, and there might be a small fight brewing near the Sunny. Atlas opts to go and check out what's going on as she realizes that York is monitoring them through the connection with Punk Records. With Lilith in the other half of the group, the probability that these two remaining satellites might die is high. Why? Well, from the looks of things, Atlas and Lilith might choose to stay behind so that the Straw Hats can escape without being tracked. Plus, this would tie into the end of Vegapunk's story properly. But I hope this isn't the case, as I really want Vegapunk to live throughout somehow, maybe, Atlas must stay and Lilith will make it out, giving us a full circle to the arc. Forget about these satellites, because we finally move on to the ancient robot, where at the depths of the ocean, it begins to move once again. Fueled by the presence of two Nika, both he and the transmission Denden Mushi within him wakes up. For all these months of listening to this transmission, I thought we would be free and could finally move on, but no. As the Denden Mushi starts up again, so does Vegapunk's transmission. Though it isn't as clear as before, he continues from where he left off, as he discusses the inherited will which had been passed down, and how he hopes his message can sway those who carry that will to stand together for a new cause. Of course, without the context from the time the snail was knocked out, the rest of the world is left shocked and confused. For example, on Whole Cake we see Katakuri and some of his siblings asking what Vegapunk means by any of this. All this really does is reignite the efforts of York and the Gorosei towards finding and destroying the Denden Mushi once and for all. But with Mars gone, Jupiter in his sand wormo form arrives and spits up all the Cyberpol agents and Seraphim which he had swallowed previously, so that he can try to suck up the giant ship. This could be for several reasons. By spitting up these soldiers, they can once again join the battle side of the Marines. Or, it could imply that Jupiter has a limit as to how much he can actually take in at a time. And with the giant ship being so big, he might have needed to clear up some space. Almost like loosening your belt at an all-you-can-eat buffet. Seeing Jupiter on his way back to attack, Luffy meets him halfway and lands a clear punch right to his face. However, he wasn't the only Gorosei member charging towards the ship. Walkery is also on his way, jumping over a fleet of Marines trying to crash into the giants. But this is where things get quite interesting, because to me, this implies that the Gorosei's devil fruits aren't really devil fruits as we know them. Otherwise, this would be a suicide mission. Best case scenario, he does ram into the ships and sink it. But then what? He's left into the water just like they are. That simply could not be the plan, unless the Gorosei are so strong they are not affected by the sea. Let's not forget Luffy trained with weakened sea stones, cough, and became immune to them over time. Who knows, maybe they have a further advanced level of Haki where it acts similar to the coating resin, but instead of a ship, obviously, they're coating themselves, which also could be the reason why Luffy's attacks aren't working. Regardless, Luffy is holding off Jupiter, so it would take some kind of second god-like figure to save the giants now. If only there was another Nika. No, really, that would be hugely helpful. You might think that I'm setting up the hype for Bonnie, but after using her giant Nika attack, she is completely worn out and reverted back to being a child. Is makes a lot of sense since Luffy's fight with Kaido established that his Gear 5 Nika awakening is fueled by Haki. Bonnie might have become Nika and should be able to do everything in the terms of imaginations and attacks, but she is still bounded by her own Haki, along with not actually having the Nika fruit, you know, meaning I doubt Bonnie's Nika future can affect her surroundings like Luffy's Paramecia awakening. So of course, she does not simply become as powerful as Luffy, she is just simply emulating his freedom. In fact, Haki is the basis for just about everything when it comes to power in One Piece, and Bonnie's fruit is no exception. For example, if she was to try and make Shanks into a child, it would either not work at all or have considerably shortened effective time because his Haki outranks hers so heavily. So I think it's important for people to understand that whilst Luffy and Bonnie's fruit have a lot of similarities, Bonnie is definitely not a true second Nika. You can almost think of it as Luffy having the ability to reshape the world around him with his fruit, whilst Bonnie has the ability to reshape personal stories or potentials within hers. However, at the end of the day, their Haki is going to control how effective they are at imposing their imaginations onto others. Also, this is why Luffy is Joy Boy and the embodiment of the warrior of liberation. Only he can bring the dawn, as Bonnie even reached her freedom in having a Nika future through Luffy alone. Regardless, Luffy looks back to see that she is out of commission, and taking this opportunity, Jupiter starts giving the giants that good suck, with their ships being pulled into his mouth. But luckily, Jupiter isn't nearly as defensive as Walkery, as Luffy is able to stop him with one punch to the face. All that leaves is the giant boar flying towards their ship, but no one is left with the strength to stop his attack. Or so it seems. The ancient robot hears a memory of the real Joy Boy's voice and springs to the surface of the water, where he imitates Luffy's left hook and smashes his fist into Walkery's face, shattering one of the Gorosei's tusk in the process. Like gosh damn, when I was saying he's Luffy's strongest ally, I wasn't wrong. He didn't fail us, guys. You hated on him too soon. We told you he was gonna come back. As he stops the boar's assault, Joy Boy's voice calls out once more, saying, "Listen, Emeth. When the time comes, you must..." What must you do? Come on, why did they do this to us? This completely leans into our theory from last week. We had mentioned that like Vegapunk, it is possible that someone had sealed their own memories or personalities within the giant robot, a sort of ancient kingdom era satellite if you will. Someone tasked with the remaining vigilant and standing up at the proper time to share the truth of the Void Century with the world. In this case, the memory seems to belong to someone from JOYBOY'S CREW named Emeth, both the namesake of the chapter and a name which in Hebrew fittingly means truth. And it's not a far-fetched idea that a continent puller named Emeth was the original personality of this iron giant. If you think about it, even Jaguar D. Saul, who going by our theory is a descendant of JOYBOY'S CREW member, has the name Saul, which again is from Hebrew literature, where also in Jewish lore, Emeth also represented a golem. And all in all, Joy Boy does seem like a Jesus-like figure, with Emu being a Judas. I mean, it does all make sense. Either way, now that Emeth is actually up and ready to fight, it is simply a matter of taking out the Goroseis from here. Like, this robot packs a punch. Last time he was caught off guard, and now with Luffy in the picture, his motivation is higher than ever. Hopefully, he's actually gonna reveal more shit about Joy Boy. Anyways guys, if you wanna watch more Peak Fiction, then make sure to check out this video next.